Hi everyone, my name is Damien Mark Smith and I teach the three principles to individuals and also to business owners, entrepreneurs and thought leaders, and I thought I'd record this short video for you just to explain to you what the three principles are and why they're important. Okay, so it's a really short video just to explain, Syd Banks, what he uncovered, what he discovered, and why it's important to us all actually. In life and especially when I teach it in business. So the three principles are very simply universal mind, universal consciousness and universal thought. So universal mind, universal consciousness and universal thought. Okay, so they are the three principles of mind, consciousness and thought, and the reason they are actually principles is because they're facts, because they're actually true. So what Syd basically saw was that there are the principles. A principle is something upon which the other parts of the system rely. So the principle of gravity, principle of mathematics, an understanding of those principles helps us understand how the universe is put together. So what he saw having in his enlightenment experience essentially was that there are three principles that would kind of describe or help us understand how our realities are put together, because essentially his enlightenment experience, he saw something that you can't put into words. He had what mystics throughout the ages have had, like a connection to source, to God, to truth, and he saw that these three principles are going to help sort of explain or certainly help us in our everyday life. And William James, the father of American psychology, said if we could find principles that that could explain how thought and thinking works, it would be more important to humanity than the discovery of fire. And Syd essentially found those principles. So the first principle is universal mind, which is the energy or the intelligence behind life. So there's a difference between you guys right now watching this and the people in the graveyard. Okay, you have an energy running through you that seems to have some sort of intelligence built into it as standard. Okay, so my daughter Annie Rose, when she was 2 weeks old, she had a bout of reflux. And reflux is where essentially you choke on the breast milk. And we didn't know what to do. She was turning blue. She did. She was 2 weeks old. She turned her head up and to the left and she choked. Well, the breast milk came out. Now, she never watched a YouTube video to see how to do that. Okay, it was inbuilt into her. That intelligence was inbuilt into her. The seasons kind of like know when to change without us getting involved. So there's an energy behind life. In science, there's many different words for it, but it's real. It's a fact. And without life, you can't have an experience of life. So that is fact number one. Principle number one. The second principle is and there's an intelligence, as I say, built into that principle. So the second principle is that of universal consciousness. So without consciousness, we wouldn't be aware of anything. Okay, so and our levels of consciousness can change as well. So sometimes when you have a low level of consciousness, you can't see, or the expression is you can't see the wood for the trees. You can't see really what's going on. I kind of liken to consciousness as the same to light. The more there is of it, the easier we can see what's really going on. So in a higher level of consciousness, you tend to be better. You tend to feel better, tend to see more opportunities, be more optimistic. And in a lower level of consciousness, you tend to see less. You tend to be less optimistic and a bit more grumpy, probably. But you need that principle to be able to see the final principle, which is the power of thought. We're not talking about your thoughts. We're talking about the power of thought, universal thought. So if you can imagine, before we came along as human beings, these principles, in the same way that gravity is a principle and mathematics is a principle, they've always been there. They're part of the universe. Okay, they're part of the structure of the universe. We as humans have come along and we're utilizing these principles. And when we're gone, these principles will still be here, in the same way that gravity and mathematics will still be here. Okay, so that's why Syd called them universal principles. They're fundamental principles that exist whether we know they do or not. Okay, so and the final one, which is the universal principle of thought, is that we have the power to think. Thought comes into us or through us, and using via the power of thought, we get a reality. We get to see a life. We get to see experience, and it's through those thoughts. You know, Shakespeare said, "'Tis nothing either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so." You know, all thoughts or judgments give us that experience, and consciousness brings those to life. So the energy behind life kind of powers us up. The thought comes through us, and the consciousness brings that into reality. Those are the three principles. That's kind of what they mean. That's certainly my take on it. As much as, you know, I've been learning the three principles now for 5 years, and you know, I teach the principles, and that's certainly what I see. I was never lucky enough to meet Syd, but I've been trained by people who knew Syd personally. Now, why? Why is it? You know, so what? So what? You know, you'll hear a lot of, you know, maybe you've actually come to this page because you thought, well, you know, I've heard this thing about three principles. You know, why? So what? What is it about these three principles? Well, I kind of alluded to it. You know, William James kind of explained or said that if we had principles, you know, telling us how thought works, how our experience works, it would be more important to humanity than the discovery of fire. Well, what I found with these principles is, I mean, I used to suffer from OCD, depression, anxiety, all sorts of things. And I woke up to the potential of the system. This tells you about how the system works. This is telling you about how humans get an experience of life. It's actually telling you about these are you know, fundamental facts into how we experience life. You can't have an experience of life unless you are alive, you have a thought, and you are aware of feeling that thought. But the point is here that we are feeling our thinking, not the outside world. Okay, the direction of the process is crucial here. It's an inside out experience. It's coming through us. Life is happening through us, not to us. So even though it looks like our outside circumstances are the cause of our feelings, actually the only cause of those feelings will be our thinking. And that's coming from us. And that thinking can change from moment to moment to moment as our level of consciousness goes up and down. So this is crucial because the so what bit basically is telling us how our thinking works, how our experience works, where insight comes from, which you know, those insight, wisdom is the problem solving, as opposed to our personal thinking, which is, you know, trying to deal with the problems. The insight is the problem solver. Well, when we get less involved in our personal thinking, the power of universal thought will deliver us a new message each time. You know, it's kind of like, look at the weather outside. You know, you can't hold on to a cloud. You can't hold on to the weather. And neither is it your responsibility to. Nature is taking care of that. Now, new thinking will come along like new clouds in the sky and replace the old thinking. And that's what gives us the ability to have new thinking at any moment. So the power of the system does the heavy lifting. We don't have to get involved in that. And all of your better decisions will come as a result of new thinking. You know, they've done recent studies with senior people in business. You know, where do you get your problem-solving thinking? That's when I'm on the golf course, when I'm out running, or when I'm, you know, walking the dog. It's never usually when they're looking at the problem itself. Einstein said, you know, to solve the problems in the world, we're going to need a new level of thinking to do that. Well, this is a paradigm shift in thought. This is a paradigm shift in the way that we've approached dealing with the issues in the world, which are all thought problems. You know, without thought, there would be no problem. People don't do things as a result of anything but their thinking. They act upon their thinking. Rape, murder, war, it's all a part of thinking. Now, life itself is neutral. You know, cancer is neutral. Cancer doesn't have an opinion. Car crashes are neutral. They don't have an opinion. The only opinions are our thinking about it. It's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. And this describes how that thought process, how that experience works. So my new book that's going to be coming out this year is called The World Peace Equation. It's based around understanding how thinking works, and I'm doing a number of talks based on this. But it all comes from the three principles. And Syd gave us this gift. He's given us this gift that we can put into words, put into like a simple idea to show people, well, this is how for things like enlightenment happen. You know, this is what we're pointing to. This is what he saw by having this experience and gave us as this gift. So the three principles, you know, they are, I mean, I've helped people who've been unhelpable. You know, I've helped people with PTSD, suicidal, you know, addiction, you know, which really there is no such thing as addiction. It's all thinking based. You know, to say that, you know, people are addicts means that, well, when they're babies, they must have been addicts as well. They were born as addicts. Well, that's just not true. It's not, the problem is not the problem. The problem isn't even your thinking about the problem. The problem is your thinking, and that's what this is pointing to. That's why this is so fundamentally crucial to the progression of humanity. Actually, this is why the so what bit is massive, because these three principles point to the truth. You know, they are true. That's what's so great about these. Check out the Michael Neal video. I'll put a link on this as well. The TED Talk. He explains it brilliantly as well. So I hope that's been useful. I hope that, you know, that's helped explain what mind, consciousness, and thought are. Please click on the subscription for this channel, and also jump across to my page, rethinkingbusiness.biz. I'd love for you to sign up for my regular updates. I've got a number of videos that I'll be doing coming up in the near future, kind of going into this in a bit more depth. So I hope that's been useful. There are the three principles. Thank you so much to Syd Banks and to all my mentors who've helped me understand or get to where I am now. I'm just touching the tip of an iceberg here, because, you know, the great thing about these is they are pointing to the truth, and it is so profoundly deep what you can go into by starting to look at these principles in a bit more depth. I try to help people do that, but, you know, there are others out there who've done a fantastic job, way better than I possibly could. I hope at least I've kind of helped with this video. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll speak to you soon, guys. Thanks very much. Bye bye.